I'm Luna, an astrologer and tarot reader of over 8 years, and I've had the joy of guiding over 1,000 clients on their own personal astrological journeys. So today I wanted to take a look at the synastry between Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni, because they have become Ryan's become increasingly more relevant in the Justin Baldoni situation with Blake. Now he's suing Ryan. Ryan seems to be a lot more involved in this whole debacle than it seemed initially. So if you would like your own personalized astrology reading, you can head on over to my Etsy shop and purchase one. It's in the description below. I'm currently running a 20% off New Year's sale, so make sure to snag that. That is a limited time offer. So let's take a look here and see what is happening. How does Ryan tie into this whole thing? So the first thing we have to understand about Justin and Ryan is that they're actually very similar. They both have these powerhouse Scorpio stelliums. Justin has his moon, Pluto, Mars, and Saturn here. And Ryan has his sun, north node, moon, Uranus, and Mars. Now, the inner circle in blue is Ryan. Outer circle in orange is Justin. We don't have a birth time for Justin, but we can still take a look at the aspects between them. Now, what is the difference between Justin and Ryan? Despite them being very similar, there is a slightly more grounded and more well thought through, more mature energy to Justin. Why? Because his Mars is co-present with Saturn as opposed to Uranus and the North Node. Now, what does this mean? So Ryan is a Scorpio who is impulsive, erratic, and all or nothing, which I guess is a Scorpio trait, but Ryan is much more ego-driven, I guess you could say. The North Node is on his sun. The North Node's on his Mars, and his moon. Like, he thinks he is the cream of the crop, right? Like, he believes in himself more than anyone. He really loves Ryan more than anyone loves Ryan. And this Mars-Uranus conjunction makes him lightning in a bottle. It means that he is someone who is incredibly inventive. He's someone who is also incredibly unpredictable, like impulsive. Someone who just I'm sure he's great at improv. I'm sure he's great at just being a firecracker. And that is his strength, right? Ryan can think on his feet. Ryan can pivot in a second. Ryan is incredibly funny, and Ryan loves Ryan, right? So that's going for him. Justin, on the other hand, is measured. His Saturn is on his Mars and his Pluto and his moon, which means he's someone who is a lot more boundaried, more mature, and he thinks everything through. He is still prone to these temper tantrums of control with the moon Mars in Scorpio. But he is more calculated because Pluto is also involved. And the difference between Saturn and Pluto and the Northern and Uranus is that Ryan is like a firecracker, whilst Justin is an attorney general. He is thorough. Okay. So when it comes to Justin, it's really interesting because one of the allegations is that, what's it called? What's his name? Ryan made Nice Pool in his movie Deadpool, created a character named Nice Pool that is based off of Justin. And if you see, what is the difference between Deadpool and Nice Pool, right? Deadpool is a firecracker. Deadpool is sarcastic, blunt, in your face. He's funny, but he's also a jerk, and he's upfront with it. That's so Ryan's energy. Sun, North Node, Moon, right? He is his biggest fan. He thinks he's so funny. He's like a class clown. He'll say anything he thinks. Versus if we think about Nice Pool's character, if you haven't seen it, the character is super nice, super perfect. He's always politically correct, and he's underhanded with his attacks. So there's things where he says something she doesn't even look like she just had a baby. And then Deadpool's you're not supposed to say that. But he says it in such a nice, cordial way that it's supposed to be okay. So that's the difference between these two, is that both of them are equally power hungry. They both want success. They both are driven to succeed. They both really believe in themselves. But the difference is that Ryan goes about it in a very crazy, erratic manner versus Justin is incredibly calculated. Now, the other thing about this is Justin's Pluto is right on top of Ryan's sun and his North Node. And I'm going to be really honest here. I think the reason that Justin gets on Ryan's nerves so much is because I'm willing to bet that Ryan desires to be a director. The North Node is an aspirational energy. It is what you are longing for. Where are your hopes? Where are your horizons? And when someone's personal planets hit your North Node, It means that that person, in this case Justin, embodies effortlessly characteristics that Ryan desperately desires. And in this case, it's the fact that Justin has been given the opportunity to run his own movie, right? To write, direct, and star in his own movie in a legitimate sense. Which, if you think about like Ryan, he has been notorious for like taking control of all of the projects he's in, to the point that I'm pretty sure the director of Deadpool literally resigned from Deadpool 2. Because I'm sure that working with someone with a Sun, North Node, Moon, Mars conjunction is incredibly difficult. In Scorpio, this is going to be someone who bulldozes through everybody, who thinks their ideas are the best, who think that they're the trophy in the room, and that everything that they think is the best way. The difference of why Justin has gotten opportunities that Ryan has maybe longed for, but despite his success has never really achieved, is because Justin plays the long game. And Justin is an incredibly hard worker. Saturn in Scorpio, conjunct Mars and Pluto, it means that he has been putting blood, sweat, and tears into his career and climbing the ladder of success to get to the position where he is, being able to be a director. Versus Ryan with his Sun, North Node, Uranus, Mars conjunction. He wants to be the exception to the rule. He wants things to happen fast, Mars, Uranus conjunction. He doesn't want to have to climb the ladder. He doesn't want to deal with all the red tape, right? And we see that with like a lot of the conversations that like we've heard from Ryan and Blake talking about how he decided to write the rooftop scene. Ryan's not a producer. He's not a director. He's not a writer on this movie. He has nothing to do with the movie beyond being married to the star of the movie, right? Beyond that, now there's like allegations coming out about how Ryan cornered Justin with Taylor Swift to force him into making his version and Blake's version of the rooftop scene in the movie their version, to choose their version instead of Justin's. So what's happening here is Pluto is a planet of power. The moon here means that Justin has a quiet power about him. When you have a moon-Pluto conjunction or even a sun-Pluto conjunction, there is a self-assurance. There is a quality to these people where they're not worshiping at your feet, hoping for opportunities. Because Pluto is power. And when Pluto's conjunct your sun or your moon, your luminaries, it means that your power comes from within. You believe in yourself even when other people do not believe in you. Justin stays true to his vision, even if Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, with all of their star power, are telling him otherwise. Why? Because he intuitively trusts his own vision. And that really gets to Ryan, right? Because first off, the red carpet wasn't rolled out for him immediately upon first meeting Justin. Justin, he has a Capricorn stellium, right? Jupiter in Capricorn conjunct Neptune, even Venus is not too far. And Sun in Aquarius, he's incredibly grounded, relatable, and down to earth. Even if he desires power, he desires to climb that ladder, he makes it a point to remain humble, to remain true to the rules, right? Saturn in Scorpio. He doesn't see himself as above the law. He sees that there is power with Pluto here in Mars in leading by example. Right? And what does that mean? That means that he's not groveling at the feet of Ryan and Blake Lively just because they're Ryan and Blake Lively. And Nice Pool, the character, like one of the things that is supposed to be so hateful about him is that he's always so nice. He's always so polite. He always says the right thing. He never stands up for himself. And we see that with the dynamic of everything that's been coming out about Justin. And that got under Ryan's skin. We also have a Moon-Mars conjunction. It means that Justin inadvertently hurts Ryan's feelings without even trying, right? It means that Justin existing, Mars conjunct Pluto, Justin doing his job, point blank period, right? A Mars, Pluto, Saturn conjunction, being a director, leading, creating rules, structuring his own project, wounds with the moon, wounds Ryan's ego, his emotions, and so he lashes out in weird ways, Mars conjunct Uranus. A Mars conjunct Uranus conjunction is the exact opposite of a Mars-Saturn conjunction. Whilst Ryan is a rebel who gets everything he wants and does everything his own way, Justin is all about structure and rules and like following the process and doing what makes sense. And that also gets under Ryan's skin. Like, why do you always have to follow the rules? Let's do things my way. That's not the way I work. That's not the way that Blake wants things, right? Now, they also have this Venus-Uranus conjunction right here, which again is a situation where I do think to a certain degree, Ryan admires Justin's innovation and how far he's come. And with the South Node Uranus conjunction, whilst Ryan is constantly performing his innovation and his wit and his like value, right? With the North Node here amplifying, it's like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look how cool and interesting and funny I am. Justin does it with a quiet confidence. South Node conjunct Uranus. It means that innovation, creativity, and thinking outside the box come naturally to him. With Sagittarius, he has big ideas and he's actually able to execute them with a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction ruling this Uranus. And what this means is that whilst Ryan with his Venus-Neptune conjunction, a lot of his ideas remain ideas. They don't become tangible, right? Maybe that's why he hasn't been able to direct. Maybe that's why he's only been able to take over projects as opposed to see them from start to finish. Is because with a Venus-Neptune conjunction, maybe he has imagination, but he doesn't have the discipline and the rigidity to execute. And so guess what happens? He starts to compare himself and want to take over his film so that he could prove I am also really intelligent and innovative. And here's the interesting part. Justin's Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune and Mercury are in Ryan's fourth house. The fourth house is the house of home and safety and comfort. So this means that Justin was doing everything he could to try to appease Ryan without losing self-respect, though, right? A moon Pluto on his North Node. He was willing to do and say and act completely nicely in every possible way. Venus, Jupiter, even be fake beyond fake, even when he was spat at in his face, right? But that's not what Ryan wanted. With Pluto, whenever you're dealing with Pluto aspects, Sun, Pluto, Pluto, Moon, Pluto, North Node, it's about control. It's not about what you're doing. It's about the hidden power imbalance. And it didn't matter how nice or generous or kind Justin was, or even complimentary Justin was. Because he did not submit to Ryan's ideas and submit to Ryan's way of doing things, Ryan saw that as an act of conflict, regardless of what Justin's intentions were. Now, what's really interesting here, too, is I do think these two could lose their temper with one another. A Moon-Mars conjunction is like Ryan's being kind of cuckoo, and then Justin becomes petty. A Mars-Pluto conjunction Saturn is like underhand, right? It's like he will reach a point where his patience is waning. But even then, he would probably still be kind of petty in the way he does it. It might not be super straightforward. You might not have like fully caught like Justin lashing out in an insane way, the way that you might catch Ryan lashing out. The other thing that's going on here is we have his sun, Justin's sun in Aquarius squares all of Ryan's Scorpio. If you have Scorpio placements, you will often not get along with Aquarians, especially if you have Mars in Scorpio or Sun in Scorpio, and you're dealing with someone who has a Sun in Aquarius or a Mars in Aquarius. Why? Sun and Mars are masculine planets. They want to lead. They want to be in control. It's your ego. You want to make your will known, right? And what happens is, if you're a Sun or a Mars in Scorpio, and you're dealing with a Sun or a Mars in Aquarius, you will always be competing. With Justin, his Sun in Aquarius is so out of the box. He's the underdog. He's kind of the indie artiste. He even like nice pulls like a feminist, like hippie guy. And like that just, it icks Ryan. Why? Because Ryan with his Scorpio and his North Node and his Mars, everything Ryan does is a little fake. It's like hidden, right? So Scorpio energy is very like exclusivity. So how does Ryan operate? I don't think Ryan's the kind of person to treat people that aren't known as equals, right? Like he might be one of those people where it's like, if you're not a director or an actor, et cetera, like he's not going to treat you. I don't want to say he might treat you bad, but he might just not be like personable with you. He might not be like sweet with you. He might not have this Aquarius like authenticity of like camaraderie, right? For example, Sun in Aquarius would be like someone who's like the director, but they're tight with the crew. They're tight with like the lower level people on set. They can talk to the PA. They're like listening to everybody and they're making sure that you feel like you're part of the team. Versus Ryan thrives on exclusivity, right? He thrives on like making himself feel like he is superior. And so Justin's, perhaps his ability to be more humble or more team oriented might have seemed performative to Ryan. Like, oh, you're the director. Why are you pretending that you want to talk to these people? Like he might have seen it as an act. And he might have taken it as a personal offense. Like, of course you're doing all that. Like, at least I don't pretend. You know, maybe I'm not the nicest, but at least I'm not pretending to be friends with the like cleaning lady. Like that's kind of the way that Ryan perceives Justin. He sees Justin as too like Venus, Jupiter. He's too generous. He's like too controlled. he's too polished. He always says the right thing. Sun in Aquarius. Everybody likes him for some reason. And then it really rubs Ryan the wrong way, right? Because like, why do people like him? Why don't people think he's so artificial and fake? Like, why don't people see through his like super like organized, like always do the right thing kind of act? And here's the thing, it might be an act. For Justin with a Mars Saturn Pluto conjunction, he is a very calculated and controlled person. He probably is thinking, these people on this set, I need to lead by example, because if they feel like they're friends with me, they're more likely to be to work with me and to think positively of me, right? So the difference is that Ryan kind of rules with an iron fist, like, I'm the cool guy, I'm the important one here. And Justin is more interested in leading by example and being more of a people's king, or people's director, if you will. All right. What else? Justin's North Node is on Ryan's midheaven. This is interesting because Ryan is inadvertently, through his hatred, through his like obsession with like, I don't like you, you're so fake energy. And like, but here's the thing with Scorpios, is they can't let things go. And I think Justin and Ryan are both unable to let this grudge go. But I think that because Ryan is kind of messy, Mars Uranus conjunction, he's not as good at hiding how much he cares, right? He might disguise it as like pettiness and bullying and insults and like, creating a character in his movie about you. But Justin's a little cleaner about it. And so with this midheaven here, he is inadvertently fueling the fire that is actually amplifying Justin's energy. And I think what's also really interesting is that with the North Node in Gemini, Justin is meant to be a storyteller. He's meant to be even like a people's person. Gemini is like the people's king, the people's, like someone relatable, right? And with the North Node in Gemini, it's interesting that he's made it his passion to make movies about real people and real stories and bring awareness to things. And it's really crazy how Ryan kind of tried to write in it, right? Because Ryan's always talking about how he's a great writer, but maybe he hasn't really been able to formally, to the most legitimate extent, the way that Justin has been able to legitimately become a director, writer, and star in his own film. That's everything that Ryan's ever wanted. But maybe he's never been able to get it legitimately. He's had to kind of sly his way to it. And with the North Node here on the midheaven, perhaps Ryan saw Justin and his movie as another opportunity for him to take someone else's kind of domain and insert himself into it again, the way he usually does, right? So this is a really complicated situation because they're mirrors. They're foils of each other. They have a very similar essence, but it's just different, right? It's like authentic chaos, like, and sarcasm versus polished generosity and like always doing the right thing, saying the right thing, right? So let's take a look at how they feel about each other. How does Ryan see Justin? So we have the Magician. Interesting. Now let's take a look at how does Justin feel about Ryan. Oh, the Ten of Wands. Okay, interesting. Now what's between them? I'll tell you what this means in a minute. Page of Swords. Oh, they're really petty with each other. A Page of Swords between them, it's like they're talking so much ish about each other. Like, you can't get Justin or Ryan to shut up about each other. Like, they're talking their wives' ears off. They're talking anyone who will listen's ears off about each other. That makes sense. Now, on Ryan's end, in terms of how he sees Justin, the Magician means that Ryan thinks that he's smarter than Justin. He thinks that he is more, he's got a trick up his sleeve. Perhaps Ryan has something planned, or maybe he's scheming behind the scenes. Also, the Magician, though, it means that he sees Justin as fake. He sees him as a creator of illusions. He sees Justin as a fraud or a liar or someone who isn't authentic, right? Which is what I was saying. Like, he really thinks that Justin is too polished, too fake. Now, Justin, on the other end, he sees Ryan as the Ten of Wands. This means he is like over it. He's so burdened by everything that Ryan has put him through. The Ten of Wands means that like Justin's been dealing with Ryan's BS for a long time now. This is not a new thing. It might be new to the public, but this has been ongoing. And the Ten of Wands also means that he feels as though Ryan is in over his head. And even though, technically, like, Ryan has made Justin's life a living hell, Justin with the Ten of Wands, he has tough skin. He's got thick skin. He's got this Mars-Saturn conjunct Pluto. Like, he knows adversity. He has lived adversity. And I think that's actually working in Justin's favor, is that he has everything he has, he's had to fight for. And so fighting for things is not a new experience to Justin. All right, now let's get a little bit more on each of them. So how does Ryan see Justin? The Five of Cups. Interesting. Yeah, I think Ryan's a little butthurt about this. But also the Five of Cups is regret. I think that he's a little bit regretful about maybe some of the ways he's acted. Maybe he's regretful about Nice Pull. Maybe he's regretful about the way that he handled some of the things with Justin. But also the Five of Cups means that he hopes that Justin's at least wounded, right? What about Justin's energy towards Ryan? The Nine of Pentacles. Interesting. I do think that Justin's a little bit more self-contained. I think he's a little bit more concerned with like how to salvage what he has, how to get through this difficult process, versus I think that Ryan's a little bit like still kind of butthurt about, like, he just really doesn't like Justin. I think even beyond this, like even if this had never happened, if they had never met on a set, I think if Ryan had ever encountered Justin anywhere else, it would still have created a very negative perception in Ryan's mind, because it's not about what Justin's doing as much as what Justin represents to him, as much as how Justin behaves and how that reflects back at Ryan. It makes him feel weird, like bad about himself, or like, like bad about himself in a way where he might not admit that, but wants to like prove, like he might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder about it. All right, now between them, we have the Sun. Interesting. This is all coming to light, and I think that the realities, even with the Page of Swords, could be like text messages or like documentation about their dynamic is coming to light in a way that has everybody talking, but it's also making both of them talk extensively about each other. So that's all I have for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.